Have you ever wanted to see a movie with loads of gratuitous sex and violence, fantastic special effects, space travel, space exploration, vampires, zombies, and the threat of London being destroyed by a thermonuclear device to get rid of them? Then Lifeforce, 1985's Toby Hooper underrated horror classic, is for you. I've just upgraded to 4K. As always, I'm so far out of the loop with everything. I didn't know this was out. I would have bought it straight away. But luckily for me, it was on sale at HMV for $17.99. It's a lovely, lovely finished case with some new artwork. That artwork is on the slipcase, it's on the cover, but I've reversed it to the original movie artwork. I upgraded from the Blu-ray. There was two versions of this Blu-ray. DVD. And this was released in heaven knows when. I've had this for about 20 years. Anyway, it doesn't matter when it come out. There was two versions of this. There was a 116-minute international cut that was released in the UK, and I saw probably when I was about 13. I'll come on to that a little bit later. And a 101-minute cut for the US, which is known as a theatrical release. This release from 2025 from Arrow has both versions. It's got the 116-minute and the 101-minute cuts. Both in Dolby Vision, both with Dolby Atmos. The theatrical cut is from an original negative, whereas the theatrical cut's from a print scan. There's ever so slight improvement of the vision, the quality of the theatrical cut over the international cut, but it's negligible. It looks like a film from 1985, film grain, nice and solid, decent film stock. Atmos soundtrack is lovely. There's also a 5.1 and a stereo track for this. And yeah, I was thinking of upgrading this for ages to Blu-ray. I thought, is it the international cut? So when this came out with both versions, game over. I bought it. It's superb. Right, the film. It was originally based on Colin Wilson's 1976 novel, The Space Vampires, and originally the film was going to be called The Space Vampires, but they went, that's a bit of a rubbish title, isn't it? So they changed it to Lifeforce. This film has a bit of a reputation because it's a canon film. Yes, Golem Globus, bless them. How many films growing up in the 80s that you hired from the video rental shop were a Golem Globus production? And every time, it seemed to be every other film, probably wasn't lots of films. And me and my dad always used to laugh when we put it on. So I saw this on VHS. Obviously, it was an 18, so I couldn't get into the cinema to see it. Slightly relaxed attitude. In my growing up, my parents had to be watching films. So, joint US-American-European space shuttle goes to Halley's Comet in 1985 and discovers 3 suspended animation humanoids who turn out to be energy-sapping vampires. The most famous one of these is the main villain, just called Space Girl, played by Matilda May, who was about 18 or 19 at the time. Now, she's on screen for about 9 minutes, and about 8 of these minutes she's completely naked. She has a hypnotic effect on everybody she encounters in the film. And as a 13, 14-year-old, she had a rather hypnotic effect on me. Yes, anybody mentions Lifeforce, they all go Matilda May or thinking the new girl. But there's far more to this film. I think it's a real underrated classic. It's when Canon had some success behind them and started wanting big budget, this is a huge budget film. So if you like huge budget science fiction horror films, this has got fantastic special effects by John Dykstra. It's got enormous sets. Alan Humes, the cinematographer of Bond, the Bond crew. It was edited by John Grover, who was currently at the time editing all the Bond films. It's got the most, on the international cut, it's got the most almighty score by Henry Mancini, and the theme from Lifeforce, which you only have at the end of the theatrical cut, I think is one of the great movie themes. It's like something John Williams should have done. Actually, it's more like what James Horner did for Star Trek 2. It's bombastic, it's huge, it's very un-Henry Mancini. It's brilliant. So it's a Golem Canon production, and they threw money at this, and you can see it on the screen. It was directed by Toby Hooper, and at the time it was reported he was putting lots of white stuff up his nose. And in the daytime, because he was a bit bleary-eyed, he was living off cigars and Dr. Pepper, one after another. Yeah. I like Dr. Pepper, but with a cigar I'm not too sure. Completely overrun, time-wise. It went over budget, but the end result is stunning. This is a visually stunning film, and it's a hugely fun film. If you like vampires and zombies and gore and blood and a good science fiction film, this is for you. This really is. Some of the people said half the crew were high as a kite making this, but it is absolutely, the action is chaotic. It really is, but it's brilliant. We've got some fantastic physical effects, physical prosthetics and zombie effects, and it really stands up. It really stands up for today. The cast: Steve Railsback as Tom Carlson. But what is the shining point is, let's get a load of really well-renowned English actors and throw them in it. So you got Peter Firth as Colonel Kane, who, when he's introduced, somebody says, "Oh, hello, Colonel Kane." He goes, "Hello, I'm Colonel Kane." And Dr. Bukowski goes, "Of the SAS," and he reminds the press, "This is a D notice." So a D notice is when the press is censored in the UK on secret matters, so the British government can silence the press, and he does this in the film. I think it's really cool. So he plays an SAS officer who's dealing with this. Frank Finlay plays Dr. Hans Fallada, who is investigating life after death and is fascinated by the subject and works out what's going on. It's got Patrick Stewart as a medical doctor, a psychiatrist, whatever it is, in a mental institution, and he's superb. Michael Gothard from For Your Eyes Only, who doesn't speak in it, and he plays Dr. Bukowski with his really impressive voice. So he's another one of the government scientists trying to work out what's going out. Nicholas Bowles, one of the astronauts, probably more famous to the British TV audiences for being the TV cop Hazel in the late 70s. The great Aubrey Morris as Sir Percy Heseltine. Aubrey was he was the doctor in A Clockwork Orange. So it's got this amazing supporting cast of classical English actors, and it gives it a real lot of gravitas. One of the vampires is played even by Mick Jagger's brother, because they were trying to get Billy Idol, but he was on tour. This is a crazy film. It is very much like, if you want to compare it to another film, it's a bit like Quatermass and the Pit, the Hammer film, but on steroids. This film is insane. It really is. Screenplay is partly written by Dan O'Bannon as well. So you got top producers, Colm Globus, and they did make some good films towards the end of the canon. It's just their cost discipline and the films didn't do very well, which isn't good. So you had Toby Hooper, red hot from doing Poltergeist. Henry Mancini giving a fantastic score. It's got a great cast. John Dykstra's special effects are amazing. The actual physical effects of all the creatures is brilliant. There's a superb 1 hour documentary on this from 1990. 2013, I think it's from a previous release. It's superb. It really is funny. It's funny as well. Lots of funny things that happen. Astronauts on physical wires as they float in, and they use the same rigging as Superman the movie. So it's very much even though it's got an American director, it's got Gordon Globus producing it. It's very much a British science fiction film. It feels like a British science fiction film. There's terror unleashed through London. And the government, who will have been led by Mrs. Thatcher at the time, if things weren't resolved swiftly, they're in the process of evacuating London of all well people who weren't zombies to sterilise London with a thermonuclear weapon. Right. Amazing. What can you say about Lifeforce? Apart from it didn't do that well at the box office. It's that mixed. Some critics hated it. Some didn't find it too bad. One or two liked it. Gene Siskel said it was a guilty pleasure. And it is a guilty pleasure. It is. It is very much an 18. There is lots and lots of full frontal female nudity in this. There is extreme graphic violence. There is lots of blood and guts. And it's brilliant. It really is. So, a film I loved as a kid, not just for Matilda May, I will admit. She didn't speak. She was a French actress and she didn't speak English. And she actually had to read the few lines she had phonetically. And the production went on far too long. She was there in London for 6 months. So she actually picked up English and spoke it with a London accent. She was there that long. It is bonkers. It is crazy. But it's Lifeforce. The theatrical cut is far inferior to the international cut. The late great Michael Kamen did the score for most of the theatrical version, whereas Henry Mancini's score is used for the international version. Far superior. There's not that much. I think there's 15 minutes difference in them. They cut a lot of the beginning off, a lot of the very nice meandering in space, travelling to Halley's Comet on in the theatrical cut. To me, there's only one version, and that's the international cut, because that's the version I saw as a kid. It was knocking around on Prime last year, and I watched it, and it's like, where's the beginning gone? Because the version I imported from America was the international cut. Or I got the cut I saw as a kid. So there you go. That's Lifeforce. Space Vampires. Great film. Paid $17.99 on HMV, and HMV seem to be having the best deals at the moment. So support HMV because they support our high streets. One of the last it is the last chain physical media outlet in the UK, and the stores are great. If you like movies, get down to HMV. They've got really well curated movie collections, and the staff are always really keen to help. There you go. That's Lifeforce, a Golem Globus production.